About these latest arrangements. Thabisho, good morning and thanks so much for your time. So, Santaco's take on these new restrictions, I would imagine that you're not happy.
Good morning, Iveka and the E-News audience. Of course, we're not necessarily happy the fact that, at least effectively 2 hours have been reduced. But we also have a slight understanding of what may have, pushed government to do that. However, we still intend to engage with government in the hope that we may be able to find some way. Our concern really, more than anything, is the fact that you have got people at the time of lockdown in terms of regulation who would still be coming from work, would still be left in queues at the taxi rank. So there's a potential of a huge crisis unless we are able to resolve this amicably with government.
Thabisho, you say you have an idea as to why they may have cut these hours down. Are you able to share that with us?
Well, it's nothing really serious except to say, arguably you wouldn't say there's a curfew, and when you give extension of hours, effectively people are contravening the curfew set by the regulations. But importantly, in other words, what that means is that the reason why there's a 7 o'clock cut-off time, you're giving an hour for people to be delivered so that at 8 o'clock there's literally nobody or no taxi on the road. We, however, say that being the case, we are still having a challenge because the reality would defy that particular condition.
All right, so, just explain to us who would be most affected by this then. And I would imagine that a large part of that would be people who work till closing time at the shops, if we're looking, for example, at tellers and things like that, where shops stay open till past 7 o'clock.
Exactly. I mean, in the main, those are the people who we're quite concerned about, primarily because there is no condition that has been set to retailers to close, because effectively what you mean is that people must close shop at about between 5 and 6 for them to be able to do whatever their internal procedures are in terms of their shops, and be able to release people to go queue for taxis, so that from 6 o'clock people are able to start moving. So it's quite impossible to manage, because you are going to be left with a situation where commuters will refuse to accept the situation. They would force drivers who will be easily tempted to break down the law. So we are saying to government that there's a need for us to discuss this and be able to find an amicable solution in this regard.
Okay, so what would be what would work for you? What proposals or solutions will you go to the ministry with?
Look, the conditions that the predecessor of this regulation rather was much more practical. The one of 8 o'clock with a grace time of an hour was much more practical, and we believe that at least 95% of commuters would be able to find their way home, and then tough as it is, we are able to live with that.
All right. So when are you meeting with the Transport Minister, or when are you engaging with him again? Do you have a date? Do you have an idea?
We have already made such a request to the ministry, and we hope, owing to the agency of the matter, the minister would, or even the Director General would be able to give us audience. But we are also mindful of the fact that it is not the Department of Transport's decision alone, primarily because it affects the curfew, and we are alive to that. But we want to get into that meeting to persuade the department to be able to persuade the command council.
All right, and then other than the hours, Thabisho, are there any other concerns you have about the new regulations since the start of this lockdown? How's it been going, especially with the limited number of passengers that you're allowed to carry?
We can never be happy with the limited number of passengers, but we understand the reasons under which they were introduced, and we are saying, as a taxi industry, we also have got to play our part in assisting government to combat the spread of coronavirus. But the main concern has always been the closure or the suspension, total suspension of long distance operation, with the exception of the 7-day window period that was granted by the minister. And these are the people who are most hard hit And this is why part of our discussions, and when we approach the minister, we would say, in the financial assistance that government would grant to the taxi industry, these are the people that we believe must be prioritized, primarily because since day one of lockdown, they have been literally on a standstill.
Okay, well, understandable concerns from both sides there, and I'm sure we all appreciate it is a very fluid situation. Things can change from day to day and at any time. We'll continue to keep an eye on that story.